thank you very much. Today we'll be going over the Ruy Lopez, all right? We'll show you what you should play, how not to play it, and we'll get on with the games, all right? All right, so in our first game, my student Michael had the black pieces. Okay, so we'll see how he plays the Ruy Lopez. Okay, e4, e5, knight f3, knight to c6. And now when white brings his bishop to b5, okay, which doesn't happen in this game, this is the Ruy Lopez. All right, so a very typical response for black is to play a6. All right, can everybody agree with that? All right, so if you were playing white in this position, there are two very common moves here. One is superior than the other. Okay, so what are one of the two moves you're thinking about?
Capture the knight.
Capture the knight, excellent. So that's the move that is highly recommended. And now you are doubling black's pawns here, okay? So now he's got double pawns. Everybody understand? All right, so you gave him double pawns, but he's got two bishops now, all right? And they're both active. All right, so where do you think this bishop wants to go really, really bad? G4, right? But the reason why he can't go to G4 right now is it's not his turn, right? All right, so everybody's like, well, I could bring out my knight, I could castle, but then guess what? He can play the move bishop to G4. Dangerous, okay? Very, very dangerous. I don't know if I've showed this yet. I don't think I have. But white could actually, if he's like, oh, well, please go away, black doesn't even have to move his bishop to H5 here. He can simply play the move H5. All right, so now everybody at home shouting, take the bishop, take the bishop. All right, so he takes, and now black takes, and now he's opening up this H file. So after knight takes pawn, right, what does black do to threaten checkmate? Queen to H4, threatening checkmate. Not just one checkmate, but two checkmates. Queen to H2 checkmate, queen to H1 checkmate. So now we have to figure out a move that stops both of the checkmates. Okay? So if you're like, well, let's just play knight takes pawn, well, that does stop one checkmate, but not the other. Okay? So we need a move that stops both the checkmates. Is there any? I see one. You see it? F3? Oh, there's actually two moves, yes. Yeah, you could play F3 or F4. Genius, all right. But F3 is the most common. And they're both horrible. And now, okay, so he just played F3. So now his king can flee to safety if the queen goes to H2 or H1, okay? Obviously, the king can't go there now because the queen's got the square, right? Okay, so how do we want to stop the king from fleeing this way? And I bet I know what you're going to say. Well, let's check him. So who would we check him with? The bishop. But does that work? No. He plays d4. So let's not check him with the bishop. All right, so we want to stop the king from getting to f2, right? So what move can we play?
Pawn to G3.
Pawn to G3. Excellent. And now he's in a world of hurt. Now he's back on the two checkmates. And so I'll play rook to e1. That stops one of the checkmates, but not the second. So what move? Queen to h1, checkmate. Yep. Resigns. Yeah, resigns was recommended a long time ago, okay? Resigns was recommended when he castled and allowed his bishop to come to g4. So what move should we play as white here? h3. If you all want to play super good, this is the move you would make. You would play h3. And now, the whole purpose of all of this is after d4 and takes, let's say we trade off all the pieces here, okay? So, okay, let's say this is the position you get to. So in the position, you traded off your d-pawn for his e-pawn, okay? This black d-pawn for his e-pawn, okay? The white d-pawn for the black e-pawn, okay? And you trade off all the other material, okay? And you get to this position. All right? Why is this favorable for white than for black? Because of these junky double pawns, right? All right. So these guys cannot create a passed pawn, even though that's not true. But these foursome can't do it unless white really messes up. And I'll show you the example of how white really messes up. But white can easily create a passed pawn. So if white wants to create a passed pawn, pretends that these kings can't move, okay? How would he create a passed pawn in this position? All right, so white has a pawn majority. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Who do you think, which ones of these white's pawns are going to become a queen, you think? Are going to get passed? This little guy, this guy, or this guy? Who do you think has the best chance to become a passed pawn? A passed pawn is basically when there's no pawns on the same file and no pawns on the adjourning files, on the lining files right there. So he can just go and no pawn can take him, no pawn can get in his way. He's got a clear shot. That's why he's a passed pawn. So who do you think's got the best chance? The E pawn, right. All right, so how would we go about trying to create a passed pawn here for white?
Push your majority forward.
Yeah, push the majority forward, okay.
Keep on it. You said the king can't move, right?
Yeah, king can't move. And then we just keep moving the pawns. And now we got a passed pawn, okay? Black's only way to create a passed pawn in this position is to do this old trick. And it has nothing to do with having an extra pawn here. All right, so if it's black to move here, has anybody seen this pawn trick before? All right, so we have two. Stephen, have you ever seen this pawn trick? All right, so it's going to be news to somebody, all right? Okay, so it's black to move, and, well, assuming this pawn wasn't here, it'd be black to move and win. Let's just say, for the sake of everything. Now it's black to move and win, okay? All right, black to move here, okay? So he's got these three pawns lined up and these three pawns lined up. It has to be this exact position or else the trick won't work. Okay, so he's really close to becoming a queen, okay? But he's got these three little guys right in front of him, unfortunately. So we need to distract them, all right? So if you haven't seen the puzzle, it's kind of tough to figure out. But I'll give you a hint. The first move, well, I'll give you a hint. The first move is pushing the middle pawn, okay? So now obviously if I take and I take back, you take back, we take back, nothing gained, nothing lost, okay? So that's not the solution, okay? We're going to force one of these 3 pawns through, okay? So when we play b3 here, let's say he takes with the a pawn, okay? So now, of these 2 pawns, okay, the a pawn or the c pawn, which do you think has a better chance of becoming a queen possibly? The one that you know, he's got a pawn on the same line as him, or the one where he doesn't have a pawn on the same line as him?
The A pawn.
The a pawn, because look, there's nobody here to stop him. All right, the c pawn is stopping that c pawn. So if this guy is so valuable, right, you probably don't want to lose him, okay? So you then push this guy, all right? And so while I'm threatening to take the b2 pawn here, so better take it. And now, what move should we make with this a pawn?
The only move you can make with it?
Well, there's actually 2 moves you can make with it. But yeah, the superior one is wow. And then he's got a clear shot to victory, okay? So if you look at that position, it doesn't matter which way you take with here. You can take with the c pawn, and then you just advance the opposite one, okay? And then you got the clear shot to victory, all right? So that's why you play the Ruy Lopez exchange variation, okay? All right, so here's the game. Michael Schall, he had the white pieces here, and I've told him this about 1,000,000 times here. All right, so what do you think he plays after a6? Obviously, obviously. And so now you're just asking black to just attack you again, no questions. And that bishop here. And now, if black really wanted to say, I'm getting rid of your light square bishop, no matter what move would he play here? Like, no matter what, you're not going to have a light square bishop anymore.
Knight to A5.
Knight to A5. Excellent. Okay. Loses a pawn. So don't play that. Let's see. Let's see if it really loses a pawn. And there's no way I'm getting this pawn back. All right. Good luck. It looks like I'm getting my pawn back. I'm getting it back. I'm doing it.
With interest.
Yeah, with interest. Interest. Yeah. Yeah, you're too young to understand interest right now. But it's good. Especially if you're getting it. It's very good. All right, so you can do that, all right? But you don't have to, all right? And so now your bishop is on this long diagonal. So you could have just attacking f7. If you wanted to put him there in the first place, you should have just played bishop to c4, as we'll see in the next game. All right, so his opponent just calmly plays knight f6, okay? So castle, now knight takes the pawn. So white could play d4, or he could just get his rook over on this action file here and attack the knight. So when knight goes backwards, so now, yeah, this pawn is in a pin. It's not going to do much here. So we could just attack it, okay? But white decides to take it, all right? So now takes. So once again, this knight is in a pin. It's not going anywhere. We can just attack it again, okay? But you can't wait to take it. So rook takes e5, check, bishop e7. So which piece is in a pin here? The bishop, good. What should we do to the pin pieces? Attack them, good. So what move should we make here? Yeah, queen e2 or e1, it's undetermined which one we should actually go to, because maybe, even though we probably do want the rook on a1 to eventually go to e1, we might want to just put our queen to e1 in case he starts attacking our rook. Okay? But, I mean, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, we should play our queen on this file so it prevents him from castling. So queen e2 or queen to e1. Queen e1 might give this rook better, more spaces to go to. All right, but instead he's like, I'm going to play a trick. And this is not a trick. I went to a Scholastic tournament this weekend, and it's like whenever they attack something, okay, they get a big grin on their face, like they're doing a trick. Is this queen f3? Is this a trick? No. It's attacking the rook. But it's not really a trick. It's just an attack.
But the rook's not defending.
No, but it's not like yeah, Hong Kai, our regular here, he was the best new player. And I seen one kid grinning ear to ear when he attacked his bishop with the rook. And yeah, it's like, it's not a trick, buddy. He's just going to move his bishop, and then you got nothing. All right, so obviously he just plays here, and that was your attack. Way to go. Okay. Right. So no, c6. C6 is the best. So d4, and so now what can black do? And now he's very happy. Castle. All right. But just because you're in a castle doesn't mean you're going to be necessarily safe here, as we'll see. All right. So bishop attacks the knight. So now bishop attacks the rook here. So first things first is he takes the dude, even though it's in a pin, and then queen takes. And now we have a decision. Everybody knows what move I would make in this position, right? I would just take the queen. And now his pawns are all garbage, and I would play rook here. Yeah, I play rook there, and everything would be okay. And if he plays rook to e8, and he gets a big smile on his face, what move? What move would I make here? No, I would, well, knight to c3, but then he plays that move. All right, good. And then I'm going to go here and pump into there. Good, excellent. So you play knight to c3 here to stop the checkmate, okay? All right, sounds good. And then white, oh, the computer's got to love white here.
Black's got the open G file though.
Well, what are you going to do with it? Yes, as one of our, well, it doesn't even like, the computer doesn't know what it's talking about sometimes.
It's got the open G file.
Yep. So the reason why they apparently like black in that position is because they'll have the open G file. All right. All right. So instead of taking queen takes, as it should, white decides he's going to play rook to f5. He's on the attack, so we didn't want to trade anybody. Okay. So now black plays queen to g6. Failing to see that queen to h6 threatened checkmate.
That isn't a trick.
Yeah. And also queen takes h whatever, h2 down there. So when he plays queen to g6, now white's like, I'm going to attack you. All right, h4. And now he's like, I should have played there in the first place. So now he's attacking this h pawn and queen check. All right, let's see if he cares. I don't think he's going to care. All right, he does care. Okay, so he plays knight to c3. Good. All right.
Queen c1 would have been mate because the bishop's on d7.
Yeah, so he better care. Yeah, he better care. You better care. Yeah, if somebody's threatening a big, nasty, scary check down there, you better do something to prevent it. Yeah, especially when it's going to end in checkmate. Yes, excellent. All right, so bishop to b7. So now white doesn't have to worry about any of black's attacks. So now he can proceed with his own attack. Which square are a lot of his pieces going after right now? F7, the weakest square in chess. All right, so let's take it. Rook takes. So black's like, I don't care, whatever, I'll take. So queen takes check, and now the king moves over. This, unfortunately, is not checkmate because the rook can come and get me. Well, that's a bummer, though. So now, what do you think white should play here? All right, so what do you suggest, Julian? Knight A4. Knight E4. All right, so I like just taking everything. All right, but he plays rook to E1 because he's like, this is going to be checkmate. So he can't resist threatening checkmate. Okay, which I understand. Right. So black has one good move in this position. The rest are garbage, okay? Rook F8 is highly recommended here, okay? Highly recommended, all right? So, yeah, so unfortunately this, because black is not in check right now, he can do whatever he wants, including devastating queen to c1 checkmate. Okay, so black has a decent idea, like I want to trade queens, but he just doesn't go about it the right way. So he plays his rook all the way up to check here, which once again is no good. He needs to be taking stuff. Take stuff. It's always fun, okay? And then it's like, it's not even a trick. It's a good move. All right, yeah, so let's say he wants to save this bishop somehow. And you don't want to save it like bishop to c8, do you? No. Yeah, or you could just be like Julian and just humiliate these guys. Checkmate. So when you have this back row checkmate in play, a lot of cool things can happen. So if he plays rook to b8 here, now you have a lot of different ways you can win. Basically, if you look, this is under attack one way. It'd be really funny if we could attack it a second way and attack something else at the same time. That's the trick. Okay? And that's a real trick. That's something you can really smile about. Because there's no matter what he does, he's going to lose a piece. That's when you need to be smiling and slamming the pieces, not oh, I attacked you. All right, so let's name some ways we can start attacking this dark squared bishop and winning it. I agree.
I disagree. Knight e4 is clearly stronger.
Yeah, or you could just play knight to e4. All right, there's a lot of cool ways. And no matter what, when he moves his queen, we take.
Yeah, but knight e4 wins another piece. Take with the knight so you threaten.
Well, of course we take with the knight. We don't want to trade when we're on the attack. All right, but those are just some ideas, okay? But you got to take stuff, all right? So anyway, so after queen to f6, he loves this check. But by checking and trading the rooks, it relieved all the pressure, all right? So now he's just like, okay, you're out. So now, do you think he's finally going to take this pawn here?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. All right, better late than never, okay? So let's see what's going to happen. So his bishop's under attack. So there's a couple different ways. He could play bishop to a8. bishop to c8, or he can just bring his queen over here, and whatever. He's set. So, suspicious move. Even more suspicious taking it. Okay, yeah. So obviously in this move he wants to play c5 so he can play c4 and trap the bishop. All right, so takes. So he just wants to take, and now he might get into a bishop of opposite color endgame, which are always draws. So always. So, and I'll explain why in a minute here. All right, so if they can stop from being checkmated here, he might have a chance to draw even though he's down 2 pawns. But we'll see. So queen to f8 here, g3. Then he likes it back better over there again. So just going back and forth. You got to make some kind of progress though. All right, so he just played a5 to protect this a pawn. But what was that a pawn doing? It was protecting the other pawn.
I have a question. After h6, can he actually take on a6? Like, let's say black plays nothing like h6.
Well, what are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of bishop takes g3 and perpetual checks.
Yeah, possibly. But whatever. All right, so after a5, white can just take. And now he's in no trouble because he can just play bishop back, and that will protect the queen. All right, so c4, g6, c5. And now black just gave up. And you probably shouldn't give up in this position because, yeah, you have chances for a perpetual check with the queen. And if you do trade off the queens, possibly a draw as well. But black there's no way he can stop this pawn, and he might be right. So he gave up, all right, unceremoniously, okay? So that was a bummer. All right, so my student got the win there, but let's see if he can stop when they play bishop to c4, okay? So instead of playing bishop to b5, right, if you have no intention of taking this knight, you can just go there right away, okay, without giving black all these free moves, okay, with bishop to c4. All right, so let's see how this one goes. Okay, so black improved from last week because he knows now never to play this knight to f6 move. So that was good, all right? So now he knows bishop to c5, much better. All right, so white castles, and now he can play knight f6 with no fear of knight to g5, because if white would play knight to g5, black can just castle the safety then. Okay, so white plays rook to e1, black castles, white plays d3, h6. So he's stopping this bishop and knight from coming in. So he's feeling pretty good. So now white plays a move, knight to h4. Okay. So who thinks knight h4? That looks like a grandmaster move. That's what a grandmaster would play. Anybody? No. What about most B players? You think most B players would be like, knight to h4?
I've seen a lot of bad
Knight h4 looks interesting. Okay, so knight h4. So one, in chess, you're supposed to never put your knights on the edge of the board, right? And plus, it's an unprotected piece in the line of a dangerous piece. I mean, you're just asking for trouble. The reason why he played it is because he wants to get a quick checkmate here somehow.
d5.
Yes, so d5 would be a great move here. Because after pawn takes d5, black has even better. So if you look at this bishop, what's he aiming at? F2, right. So wouldn't it be really cool if our knight could come and attack F2? Wouldn't that be pretty cool?
I'd love it.
Love it, yep. And now this knight's hanging. We're threatening this. We got the life, okay?
So after knight g4, let's say he plays rook e2. So d5, knight g4.
All right, knight h4, d5, pawn takes, knight to g4.
Rook e2 or something. Or, okay, then queen h5 is good. But
And then I'll take, and I'm now threatening, yeah, checkmate in 2 moves.
so maybe we're not rook e2.
maybe just give it up.
Knight g6 here.
Oh, I go with your own little threat. You know what? I'm just gonna laugh so hard at. Well, you know what? No, I'm not even gonna laugh. I'm just gonna.
Please start laughing.
I could take. I might even play knight to a5.
Obviously, white's position.
I'm gonna take here, obviously. I'm gonna take here, and then the computer's gonna say, Kummer plus 100.
Plus 3.
Kummer negative 5.5. All right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's
And
pretty
what
good.
does knight takes d5 say? It's plus what, 400?
All right, so let's get back to the board if we can. All right, so those are just some ideas when they play funny moves like that. Just try to attack them, okay? All right, knight. Okay, but when you don't punish them, it makes their weak moves look awesome then, okay? Because he does have a threat of knight to g6 here, okay? Obviously he's not going to play it now, but he does have a threat. See, if he plays knight to g6, black's f pawn is in a pin right now and can't take it. All right, so queen to f3. He's feeling pretty good. So black now attacks it. He should be putting his knight down there, okay, and attacking f2. But okay, but he can't resist attacking the queen. So I understand. I mean, I probably would too. All right, so now queen over there. And now knight to d4. So now he's threatening this guy
And knight e2.
and this big check. All right, so he's got a lot of stuff going on. So when white plays h3, all right, so here's the moment of truth for black here, okay? There's a lot of stuff going on. His bishop's under attack, his knight's in the center, coming toward here or here. Okay, but white's queen is on the same file as the king, so it could get dangerous. All right, so black decides to be a macho man here, and it doesn't work out for him. So he's like, I'm so good at chess. I'm just going to take you, all right? And this probably shocked white, but he's like, okay, whatever. And little did he know, now he's got his rooks forked. But unfortunately, white has some mad counterplay on the king side here. Oh, obviously, Julian knows.
Instead of
No.
knight h5 wants his piece back.
Possibly. But that's okay. That's immaterial. All right, so what does white play to threaten checkmate here? He doesn't even care about these rooks.
Knight f5.
So knight f5 does threaten checkmate.
Hopefully just as good.
Yeah, and it might be, but it's not as fun. Anybody?
Bishop takes h6.
Are you seeing this? Bishop takes h6. Can't capture. Pin pieces can't capture. Yeah, so knight h5 would be a chance, but it would fail to the same move he's about to play. So he's like, I'm gonna play g6. So
He played this move?
yeah, he played it, okay? He might as well have just taken a rook, to be honest with you, okay? So g6. So ask yourself, what is protecting g6?
I know.
It's a trick question. Nothing is protecting g6. But then you're like, hey, what about that pawn on f7? Yeah, what about it, okay? It's in a pin. It can't move out of the pin. So everybody at home should now know the checkmate here. Queen takes check, king move, and now what move do you make to checkmate black? And now he's got it. Go ahead, you can say it. Queen to g7, checkmate, okay? Kings can't capture protected pieces. So after knight h5, I'm just gonna go there anyway. I'm not gonna be careful. I'm going right there. Well, I'm gonna be a little careful. I'm gonna be so careful. I'm gonna look at the computer. I'm gonna go to the restroom and look up stockfish here. No, it's not. No, I'm up by just a teeny. Just a teeny.
It'll eventually do.
Oh man. Yeah. It went from. So yeah, queen to g4. It looks okay. That way I attack the knight and I protect my knight. Yeah.
So now I can take the rook, right?
All right, have fun.
Now I can boost that. That's my move.
Yep. But
So queen f6.
all right, queen f6 might stop. Well, I gotta attack it. I just protect, okay? And
Oh, you're gonna love this. Bishop takes e3, f takes e3, and then queen takes h4. Resigns.
yep. And then queen takes, and now what would black do to get all his material back? And
With
probably
interest.
all, yeah, with interest, yeah, yes. Check. And then check again. And then black would be winning just a little bit. But yeah. So that's how the game didn't go, as they played incorrectly, but black was still in it even though he was being attacked at the end. All right. All right, we're going to make way for Maurice Ashley's Analyze This class, and hopefully you'll come back next week. Thank you.